Welcome back to another episode of Out and About, where we take a real look at what's happening out there in the stores, in the streets, and behind the headlines. Today's topic, it's heavy, it's outrageous, and it's real. But first, let me talk about where you can find this podcast. You can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any other platform where you choose to devour your content. Now, let's get into this. What I'm talking about here is the disturbing and growing trend of adults sending children into stores to shoplift. And not just candy bars or soda. I'm talking organized, deliberate theft using kids. And guess what? One of those groups ran into the wrong store. Shout out to my cousin Steve for sending me this now viral clip of what looks like a CVS store where some bold kids got locked in mid-theft. Yeah, you heard that right. So picture this. 3 young kids, probably no older than 12, inside a CVS. They're not browsing. They're grabbing, stuffing things into bags, looking over their shoulders like they've done this before. But the staff? They were ready. They locked the front doors. Boom! These kids were now inside with nowhere to go. The video shows them pacing, trying to get out. One yells, "You better open the door, we're going to trash the store." Real threats, real chaos, and these are kids. Now think about this. Who sent them in? You know it wasn't just some childhood dare. This wasn't a spontaneous grab and go. These kids were working under direction. Let's talk about the grown-ups behind the scenes, because that's who's really stealing. These adults aren't just neglectful, they're weaponizing their children. It's a new kind of street hustle. Kids don't get arrested the same way. They're seen as minors. Maybe they'll get a slap on the wrist. Meanwhile, mom, uncle, cousin, or whoever's parked out front waits to reap the rewards. Let's take a poll here, guys. Have you ever seen a child stealing in the store? Did it look like someone else was pulling the strings? Drop me a message or DM and let's talk about it. We're raising kids to become pawns in criminal games. And it's not just petty theft. It can spiral. Juvenile detention, criminal records, trauma. And all for what? A bag of snacks and a pack of batteries? Now let's get back to that CVS. That moment those doors locked, everything shifted. The kids weren't scared, they were angry. They demanded to be let out, threatened to tear the place apart. Oh, so entitled at such a young age. And look, locking the doors, some folks say, it's dangerous. What if the kids had a weapon? What if it escalated? But others say it was about time these stores stood up for themselves. Now, in certain situations, yes, locking the doors can be dangerous. I know these were kids. You never know. They might have a weapon. That might not. But I'd say that would be more for the adults, that if you try to lock the doors or, stop them from stopping. An adult, I would say, in my opinion, would be more likely to have a weapon on them. Let's take another poll. And put your answers in the comment box below. Was it right for the CVS employees to lock those kids in, or was it too risky? Hit me up with your answer in the comments or through a DM on social media. Stores have been looted, staff assaulted, inventory wiped out in minutes. Maybe this was the turning point, but at what cost? Let's call it what it is. This is exploitation. This is child endangerment. These kids didn't wake up and decide to become little criminals. They were shown, trained, and thrown into it by the very people who are supposed to protect them. In my years working in the grocery industry, I've seen parents hand off vape pens, booze, or $20 to a kid and say, go in and get it. They think it's slick. It's not. It's lazy. It's dangerous. It's criminal. If you're out there sending your kid into a store to steal while you sit in the car on the phone, you're not parenting. You're part of the problem. And I stand by that. Let's take it to the real world here. I got a story here that of an experience that I read about. Story one here is at a Walgreens in San Mateo, California, staff caught a 9-year-old girl with her backpack filled with cosmetics. Security footage shows her mom waiting outside in a van. Cops show up. Mom speeds off. What the fuck was that about? Really? It's like she left her kid behind? I get it. I get it. Oh, the kids will get a slap on the wrist. I'll get a felony, but it's not right. It's ridiculous and it's stupid. Story 2 here. A grocery store in East Oakland had a group of boys raiding the candy aisle. Manager sees them, recognizes them. They've been in with the same adult 3 times that week. Huh. These aren't bad kids. These are used kids. And that's the saddest part. Now, there's only so much a store clerk or cashier can take. Some of them are minimum wage, no security training, and here come kids smashing shelves and screaming threats. Something's got to give. In that CVS video, you can hear the frustration. One employee yells, "This is a pharmacy, not a playground." And yet, they were babysitting criminals. Here's what needs to happen. If a minor is caught shoplifting, investigate the adults connected to them. More training and protection for store employees. Outreach for families using children like this before it becomes a legal case. In 2024, juvenile theft arrests in major cities dropped, but reports of organized child shoplifting went up 17%. Why? Because the adults got smarter. If you see this happening, don't just shake your head and keep walking. Call it out. Report it. Not to shame the kid, but to stop the cycle. Because if nobody steps in, these kids don't get out. They grow up believing that crime is survival. And shout out again to Cousin Steve for bringing this to my attention. The streets are watching. And so are we. Wow, guys. That is crazy. But I've been in the grocery business 36 years. And trust me, I've seen it all. I've probably seen, as much crime-wise. I've probably seen almost as much as a police officer, probably, just over my 36 years. I've seen all kinds of people stealing. And yes, I've seen people use their kids. I've seen the parents walk out, and then a few seconds later, the kids walk up behind them with something in their hand. I have seen liquor. I've seen cosmetics. I have seen soap. Now, I don't see this sort of child thing every single day, but I have seen it. And it's quite shocking, In general, just the theft, especially in California here, is just ridiculous. It's out of control. It's stupid. Everybody is oh so entitled, and if you do recover something from somebody, oh, you're doing way too much. Oh, this isn't yours. What do you care? Really, yeah, it isn't my stuff. But it's just what pisses me off is the audacity of some of these people that feel so entitled to walk in and walk out with whatever the hell they want. And it seems like in the last 5 years, it's gotten worse, The entitlement has gotten worse. There's no accountability anymore. You call the police, and they've got bigger fish to fry. They may not respond right away. They may respond 2 hours later, 3 hours later, or in some cases, not even show up at all. The city that I work in, I think it was last week, we had to call the police for some theft stuff. And 2 police officers showed up about 20 minutes later. And get this. They told us they were the only 2 on duty at the moment. And I'm like, wow, is there really that much of a shortage of cops? The city I work in, I'm not going to mention it because I'm not going to put anybody on blast, or I'm not going to give anybody any opportunity to hear this and go perform more crimes in that city. But it's just like, dude, really, that the city that I work in is quite a large city. It spans quite a bit of space. And at the moment, at 5 p.m. or 6:30 or so, whatever it was, there's only 2 cops on duty. That is ridiculous. That is crazy. They've got to do more. The cities have to hire. They have to do. I mean, maybe there's not a ton of people, applying to be police officers, but there's definitely a shortage of law enforcement, and that's got to change. So the response times become better. So there's more of a police presence. I would say people would think twice. Then again, there's some dumb people out there, so maybe not. But 2 police officers on duty in the city the size of the city that I work in is ridiculous. And it kind of, shit, I don't feel safe going into that city anymore after finding that out. Maybe it was a one-off. Maybe that night it was just a bad night. I heard they had lost some police officers to, I think, the San Francisco Police Department. Maybe some people had called out sick. Maybe it was a one-off. Maybe it's not an everyday thing. I mean, I don't really think it is, because there's been times in the not so distant past where I've seen several police officers at once respond to something in that city. So, maybe it was a one-off thing. It was a bad situation that night. But still, I think for the most part, there is a shortage of law enforcement. All the defunding and all of the ridiculousness that goes on in the world. But anyway, guys, let me know in the comment box below, wherever you're hearing or seeing this. Let me know what your thoughts are. Were the store clerk owners in the right to lock the kids in? I mean, I've always heard that kind of thing where you lock somebody in, that could be construed as kidnapping. So I really don't know. I really didn't hear anything more about what happened in there. Did the employees get in trouble for locking the kids in? Something tells me, with my years in retail and grocery, they might have gotten in trouble for doing that. I was reading the comment box of the video that people were saying the parents were outside. I didn't see anybody by the door or anything, but most likely the parents were probably outside the car waiting, or outside, And the thing was, they didn't seem too concerned with their kids being locked in, because all I saw was the kids. I never saw any parents or anything. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning into Out and About. Stay aware, stay real, protect the kids, even when the adults won't. Subscribe, share, and tell me what you think. The comment box is open. Hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads. You know where to find me. Until next time, be safe out there. Peace